when I was living with my grandparents, the airplane flew over the house to land at Tinsipen. And I always look up and wonder, where are they coming from? Where are they going? So like in a boy, one day, my friends and I, we ran through the road and we ended at Tinsipen, just outside. And we watched and saw the airplane coming. And I thought, Jesus, this is exciting. And I went back home.
Hello, Wagwan. Welcome to Design to Win, the show that gives you the roadmap to win at life with a little Caribbean flavor. I'm C. Ruth Taylor, and coming up in this episode, we're going to be talking about some untold stories, continuing what we did last week, and it's shining spotlight on the good in Nazareth. And Nazareth this week represents my community of Olympic Gardens. Very often Olympic Gardens is in the news when there is something negative happening, and we don't really showcase those who are shining and when good stuff happens. And today with me is one of my church brothers, and he is part of the good in Nazareth. He has been a commercial airline pilot with over 20 years of experience, and he flew with Air Jamaica for 10 years, Etihad Airways for another 10 years. He's married, has 2 children, and he's currently living in Canada. But one of the things why I am interviewing Lloyd Phillips is that in our church, he is legendary. He is the man that inspires many of us to dream big, and he has faithfully served the Lord over the years, and God has taken him far in life. And so, without further ado, welcome to the show, Lloyd.
Oh, thanks, Ruth, for having me. A pleasure to be here.
Yes, it's good to have you. Now, you have traveled to different places. You were at one stage living in Dubai. Can you tell us, what does Dubai have in common with Jamaica, or what is a big difference that you think our audience would want to know about?
I live in Abu Dhabi, which is the capital of the UAE. Dubai is next door, but it's quite different. It is a desert transformed into a metropolis. The average temperature is quite hot, maybe 45 degrees. In the summer, it can go up to 50 degrees, and maybe a low of 24. But it's something exciting place to live. They normally have the biggest and the best of what money can afford. But it's hard to compare to Jamaica because it's not a tropical country. It's very hot, as I said before. But things work there, things that you get used to. Simple things like public toilets are immaculate, things like that is quite different. But it's interesting place, very expensive place to live, but quite nice. And you get to meet a multi cross section of people, from Arabs to guests like myself from the Caribbean, from Canada, from the US, from Europe, from Africa. It's like a big melting pot.
Wow. Did you find when you introduce yourself as a Jamaican that people were excited, or anybody there wanted to visit Jamaica?
Absolutely. Everybody knows about Bob Marley and reggae. If there's nothing they know about Jamaica, they know about Bob Marley and reggae. And everybody wanted to come to the home of reggae. So it's kind of a mini celebrity in a sense. But yeah, it's once you say a Jamaican, everybody say Wagwan.
And that's how I start the show. Hello, Wagwan. So that is awesome. Now take us back, way back now, into your childhood. Where did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
I grew up in Olympic Garden, but I actually was born in Tower Hill, a neighboring community, which is similar demographic, poor, what is now known as the ghetto, but back then it was a support area. So I was born in Tower Hill, but my parents moved to Olympic Garden. And like, you know, everybody else, you play football. The thing about my parents, we couldn't be on the road. And in the ghetto, as we call it now, you see the good and you see the bad. And at some point, you have to determine where you go. And good thing in my case, I became a Christian quite early, and that really influenced where I went with my life.
Okay. So I hear some similarities. My mom would not let me go anywhere after 6 p.m. So I was born in St. Mary, and at 10 came to live in Olympic Gardens. So not even church she would allow me to go in the evenings. So she had me under strict regime. And so we're seeing two things that helped you to avoid falling into what persons normally expect from those who are in the inner city. Two things that help you to break the mold. You had good parenting and you became a Christian. So that helped you to break the mold. But even with that, how did you manage to become a pilot and have the career that you had growing up in Olympic Gardens? So how did you make that shift, and what was the process like?
Okay, how it all started, when I was living with my grandparents, the airplane flew over the house to land at Tinsipen, and I always look up and wonder, where are they coming from? Where are they going? So like in a boy, one day, my friends and I, we ran through the road and we ended at Tinsipen, just outside. And we watched and saw the airplane coming, and I thought, Jesus, this is exciting. And I went back home. Forget about it. I was not very bright in school. I was slower than my bigger brother, Denton, which is, you know, I think he's much faster than me. I was a slow developer. So when I was in school and graduating now, I had to determine, what do I do? And then it occurred to me that, you know, I wanted to fly. But my parents had $0. And one day in church, I brought it up, one prayer meeting, that I wanted to fly. And Pastor White, the current pastor now, I think either handed me a token $20, which was good at the time, or I can't remember what it was. And he says, this is a down payment on it. And that was the genesis that I said, hey, I need to find ways of making, you know, earning. And I did various small things, you know. Whereas other people from Upper St. Andrew could just, their father would sponsor them. I basically worked my way and my salary went into flying, and I did it like maybe 3 times of the month, very slowly, because I couldn't afford it. But slowly but surely, I keep going. I studied. I resisted all the traps of the ghetto, you know, of getting a baby mother or using money to buy liquor. Because of my Christian faith, I avoided that trap. And I was solely focused on getting a career because I thought I could be good at this. And that's how it all started. And slowly but surely, it took me a while where I first got my private pilot license. And then the big tragedy was, because I started late, Air Jamaica at the time had an age limit of 30. And I was working, trying to get them onto the commercialized, the multi-engine rating in order to get to apply before 30. And unfortunately, I didn't make it. That is how I ended up said, okay, next best thing, I'll join the army and fly for them. Lo and behold, while I'm in the army, the age limit was removed from Air Jamaica. And that is how, after serving in the army for almost 10 years, I applied to Air Jamaica and got accepted.
Oh, that is just amazing. I'm sure many persons listening to this, they're going to be so inspired. You weren't the brightest, and you said you had to work your way through it. Just for somebody who has this dream, talk us through, where exactly did you go to school or learn to fly? before getting into the Army?
Yeah. I went to St. Andrew Technical High School,
Ah,
which is a good high school located in a similar community, in a low-income community. I did average in school. As I said, I wasn't the top of the class, but I wasn't the bottom either. But when I realized what I wanted, I started after school now to go down to Tinsipen, which is the uh, local airdrome that the school was at. And I kind of loitered around trying to find how I can afford this. I went and did a ground school, but I was completely focused. So I passed the ground school with flying colors. First attempt, all the exam I did. But then I had no money to fly. So here I am, did all the theories, theory of flying, meteorology, air law, all of that you did, pass it, but no, don't have the money to fly. That was a big challenge. But I believe that anyone who has a dream, do not make obstacles toward your dream. I couldn't see the end. I didn't. I can't say sitting here now, oh yeah, I knew I was going to make it. I didn't. But what I knew, my abiding faith told me that no good thing will he withhold from them that walk it upright. And I believed it. I believe that, look here, God, this is what I want. I'm going to put a lot of things on hold because this is what I at least want to do. And eventually, through loan, through gift from friend, through that at the time I started to work, all my salary, except for a few that I contributed to the household, went into flying. And that's how I started, with a dream, with a drive, and with the help of God. That is how I started to get to my private license.
At Tinsipen, you got the...
You get your private license first, which is 40 hours. Then you get your multi-engine rating, which is another 5 hours to fly a twin-engine airplane. And then you work 200 hours now to get your commercial license. The normal thing is that people become instructor to gain the hours, teaching other people to fly. But I didn't have the luxury of time, one.
Right.
I was working, so I couldn't become an instructor because I needed money to fly. So I was behind the eighth ball because I had to be working to provide a source of fund for my flying. I couldn't be an instructor to gain the free hours, and time was against me. That is how I missed the opportunity initially to get to Air Jamaica.
Right, I understand, but then it all worked out. So I'm understanding the process a little bit more. So for those who are listening and you have this dream, perhaps your dream is to become a pilot. He is outlining some steps. So the Tinsipen Airdrome is still in Jamaica and they still do training, right?
Yes, but a different school is located there now, but it's still up and running.
There is so much nuggets from this, and I know we are almost out of time, but it is just so good hearing, because the faith that you had this dream, you were willing to work towards it. But what also stood out to me is the step of faith that your pastor had, who is also my pastor, in terms of planting a seed to say, this is it. He did not say, Lloyd, this dream is too big for you. He supported you, showed you that, listen, I believe in your dream. And so that's just amazing. Quickly though, when did you get married? How did that come in the picture? Because I know you're happily married, your wife is beautiful, and you have 2 wonderful kids. So in the early days, you didn't get involved in all of that so that you wouldn't become a statistic, and you focused on the dream. So tell us the transition. When did you get married and have your family?
Well, I'm married 28 years now, but how I met my wife, I played the piano, and she was a part of a trio that I practiced, and all my friends around me was getting married, and they always needle me, say, hey, when are you going to get married? And I say, yeah, now that I'm in the army, I'm flying, let me look around. And then I saw the beauty in this girl, and I'm thinking, is she the right person for me? But in my own way, I was trying to find out, was she the right person? I annoyed her to see how she would react. I complimented her to see how she would react. I spoke to her friends to see who she was. And eventually, slowly but slowly, we connected. We connected. Because she lived just up the road from church. So we spent our chatting about our mutual love of music and about life in the community, similar upbringing as mine. And eventually, we fell in love. And I wanted it to work. As I believe the institution is a noble one, and I'm not perfect, she's not perfect, but I think with the love of God, it's allowed us to make it work for 28 years. That has produced 2 children, Gabrielle and Tiffany. So
awesome.
What can I say? I'm happy.
Awesome. There are many persons when they leave Jamaica or they advance in life that they abandon their faith. With your wealth of experience, travel, exposure to so many things, how have you managed to keep the faith? How have you done that so that others who will leave can understand that, listen, you don't have to abandon your faith as you move up the ladder? What has been your secret? How have you managed to stay grounded despite all this advancement?
That's a tough question. I purpose in my heart, like a marriage, I promised God that I would serve him. And it didn't say if I was in Jamaica, if I was in Canada, if I was in the UAE. I have traveled the world over. I've flown to all the continents, many countries. And I've seen other faith. I've seen the Muslim, I've seen the Hindu, I've seen, no religion. But I must remain true to who I am, to the faith that I've confessed from when I was a boy in Tower Hill. And money or career or influence must not trump that. It will inform it. I mean, I might have different views on certain topic, but I believe that if one promises God to serve him, to be faithful to him, then it doesn't matter where you are. And I think that helped me grounded. Plus my wife keeps me grounded, remind me that I'm not a pilot, I'm her husband. So
that's an amazing response. So it goes back to those decisions in a similar way where David would say, I will bless the Lord at all times. You purpose in your heart that I will be faithful to God no matter where I go. And it shows that even with exposure, that you don't have to give up your Christian faith. You can continue the journey. Any final words for anybody listening and has a dream? Any final words for them in terms of keys to win?
If you have a dream, believe in yourself. If you have a dream, believe in yourself. If you're a Christian, trust in God, that God wants the best for you. Don't think it's just be noisy in church, be rejoiceful in church, but God wants the best for you. If you believe in yourself, have an abiding faith, there's nothing that you can't do with the help of God. I truly believe that.
Thank you. And I'm saying thank you on a number of levels, not just coming on to the show to share your story, but thank you for being part of the good in Nazareth and also part of the good in the Caribbean, for waving the flag and for just being an inspiration all around. And in terms of family, career, drive, faith, you are a sterling example, and it has been a privilege to talk to you. If persons want to get in touch with you, maybe they want to go on the same similar journey or hear more about some of your travels, maybe they're doing research, how can persons get in touch with you?
Well, you have my email. They can always email me. You can always give my email.
Right.
I'll be happy to respond to them.
All right. So you can contact me at ruthtaylor@extramileja.com, and then I will put you in touch with Lloyd Phillips. And so as we close out the show, I'm sure you've learned a lot. So let's close out the show with our pledge to win. Put your hand across your heart and say with me, there's greatness in me. It's possible to live my dreams. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. With faith, courage, and consistent action, I'm going to make it. It's not over until I win. Ta for now, until next time.